back down. I want it now and I ain't never gonna back down. I want it now and I ain't never gonna back down. I want it now and I ain't never gonna back down. I am no regular citizen. Nope. Do you understand what you're witnessing? You cannot tell what the difference is. I want it all and I'm winning it. I do not care about opinions. Time to make a few decisions so I can take a position. I'ma go get it, I'm punching and kicking. I keep on moving, they offer me. Just do it and stop at our talking G. I'm not expressing no modesty. I can't see nobody stopping me. If there's a problem, I gotta solve it. Straight to the top, I can't see myself falling. I gotta grab it, there's no time for stalling. Number one stunner, don't have other options. Now I'm fired up. I'm sorry, brother, your time's up. I see the top and I climb up. I came from the ashes, I rise up. Rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up. Rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up. Rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up. Rise up. I want it now, I want it now, and I ain't never gonna back down. I want it now, and I ain't never gonna back down. I gotta go for the gold. I need to switch up the mode. I'm gonna win on my own. I'm in a whole nother zone. I reached the pinnacle. I don't have time, this is critical. It's time to finish you. I don't care who I just did it to. I gotta go for the gold. I need to switch up the mode. I'm gonna win on my own. I'm in a whole nother zone. I reached the pinnacle. I don't have time, this is critical. It's time to finish you. I don't care who I just did it to. I want it now, I gotta rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta. I want it now and I ain't never gonna back down. I want it now and I ain't never gonna back down. I want it now and I ain't never gonna back down. I want it now and I ain't never gonna back down. Said I'm fired up. I'm sorry your time's up. I see the top and I climb up. Came from the ashes, I rise up. Rise up, rise up. I want it now, I gotta rise up.
From iRacing's virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia, we say good evening, SimRacing fans, and welcome to round 2 of the 2024 Full Throttle Real Sim Racing Cup Series. Well, we thought we would be here about 7 days ago, but the Daytona 500 was postponed, and the drivers took a vote that they wanted to watch that one, and we have gotten a couple of good races in the Cup Series side of things since we were last with you with our Daytona opener. So 1 week later, we are finally here in Atlanta. The virtual haulers have been parked for 8-9 days or so, but we're happy that you're with us. And alongside of myself, Evan Pasoko, Terry Radford back in the RSR booth, Joshua Lee gracing us with his presence. He's downstairs in the producer chair. And Terry, it's weird to say this still, but Atlanta, a lot of the same compared to what we would have seen 2 weeks ago in Daytona. And if tonight's race is any inkling of what we saw yesterday with the Cup cars, I think we're in for a good one.
Yeah, I said that coming into the Discord here. Are we going to get the race that we saw yesterday? We got a lot of talented people: Daniel Everhart, Eric Papanow, Ross Cato, just to name a few. You got some guy named Dylan Coyle in here. I hear he does something important. Maybe not. I don't know. But a lot of cool people is going to be able to race this racetrack. And I can't say I missed the old configuration, Evan, but damn, yesterday put on a hell of a race.
It was not really warmly received when it happened, but I don't think anybody can argue last night's race was a good one. Of course, we take a look at this 30-race calendar, and we got a long way to go here, starting with Atlanta, the first kind of regular race of the year. And you'll see, again, we were supposed to be here last week, so Las Vegas was supposed to be tonight. Vegas going to be pushed to March 4th. That simply just eliminates the off week. Things will pick back up at Bristol, where we actually precede the NASCAR Cup Series races and kick off the week of official racing on the service, Terry. That was something that the drivers voted on in the offseason. So these next 2 weeks are going to be a little bit weird. They are anticipating all year to the RSR race kicking off the week of official racing at that track on the sim. But we were just racing all week in Atlanta on the service, and when we go racing in Las Vegas next Monday, it'll be the end of the week as well. So these 2 weeks kind of anomalies in terms of how much track time these drivers will have. This is kind of the closing to the week where they've had plenty of track time, whereas for the rest of the year, this is kind of a kickoff and a practice week.
Well, and I tell you, there's pros and cons to it. The con is a lot of these drivers are either really pissed off or really excited coming into Atlanta because they've either had a really bad week or a really good week. So they might just blow off some steam here this afternoon. Vegas is, all in all, it has its moments, right? You might have a good run there. You might not. You see Agnell Phillip with the win last week or 2 weeks ago at Daytona, I must say, getting it done. And the points really doesn't mean much this early in the season. At least I don't think. Most of these drivers probably won't start thinking about points till we get out of this, super speedway S type style. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch. I think tonight's gonna be one heck of a show.
Yeah, the wins are what matters at this point, and there's always a chance with 20 regular season races you could see more than 16 winners. I doubt it, though. I think a win is pretty much safe to locking yourself in. The points conversation that we had at Daytona for the first time in RSR history, we've been doing this for more than 12 years, were those midway stage bonus points that were handed out at the midway point in the race. There is no caution, but tonight that will be at the end of lap number 65. Points will be awarded to the drivers inside of the top 10. So max points has gone from a maximum of 42 points in years past to now a hypothetical maximum of 52. If you were to win the race, win the midway stage, and then also lead the most laps on the night. Taking a live look in at single car qualifying now. 30 cars ready to go racing, so easily everybody going to make the field. Right now, Liam Sheen, top of the board. Still some time to go with some heavy hitters yet to lock in their second time laps.
Yeah, a lot of good drivers on here. You see Andrew Freenage in the updated Ford Mustang. Weird to not see a type of wrap on that thing. Just an old Cobra style look on it with the blue and the black stripes. And I know you're probably a little, both of you are probably young and don't remember the product car that was out there, but that's a pretty hot rod.
Andrew's been bouncing around between some almost test-looking schemes at times. Brought out some color for the Winter Series, and at least here tonight, just keeping things pretty primary and sporting the blue oval well. Of course, the Fords, the Toyotas with those new body looks for 2024. Chevrolet is going to have something new for 25, but the Camaro still looks good as ever. And it'll be fun to see what these next-gen cars do on this modified version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Sheen still top of the board at 31.203. I think almost everybody by this point has had to have gotten their two-timed laps in. Taking a look at Garrett Pittman, some of the other drivers still on track. I think most of these cars probably doing a third lap just for practice. Maverick Davis to the line. That's his second timed lap. He improves to P8, but does not threaten those top five.
Yeah, and we made kind of picks behind the scenes before it was all said and done. I'm pretty sure your partner said that she was taking last week's winner, Agnell Phillip. Not too bad of a pick, getting the third place position as we run, and now we're done. So third is locked in. I gotta take my boy Thomas George. I think that's a lot. That's a solid pick. He's smart, consistent. But I tell you, I'm ready, Evan. I haven't been back on RSR in forever.
It's been a while. You picked a good one to come back to. Hopefully, we get a little bit of that Sunday magic here on this Monday night. So let's go trackside and take a look at your RealSimRacing starting grid. And Liam Sheen is on pole with a 31.203, and he will be joined on the front row by the 07 of Dominic Howe. Then it is for the defending Cup champion, driving for the defending team champions as well. The A51 Pro X Altus 94 of Agnell Phillip will start in third. third, and Michael Araya alongside in fourth. Back on row number 3, it'll be P5 tonight for Brandon Gass, and then Cody Harris will round out our top 6. Terry?
You got Grant Davis back there in 7th with Maverick Davis, no relation, I do not think, on 7th and 8th. Andrew Freenage, the GOAT, back there in 9th with Jaron Winemaster in 10th. Ross Cato and Daniel Eberhardt, the 3rd, is in 12th.
Lucky number 13 tonight belongs to Benazzi Major, and do not adjust your sets. It is not a Sprite Chevrolet. It's still green, though. It's Spotify and Hulu colors on that one. He'll be joined by the 14th place starter. That's Thomas George to his outside on row number 7. The 15th place starter tonight, the 51 of Brett Larson, and Sam Nieto will roll from 16th. That's the KTM Ford. And then back on row number 9, give P17 to Braden Whitaker, an 18th spot to James Ross.
Big fan of the Havoline colors back there on that 18th place position, and whatever our producer's doing behind the scenes, no clue. But Cam Patterson sitting in the 19th, and DeAndre Kane in the Martin Sports number 90 is going to roll 20th. Eric Papanow, my favorite name to say, 21st. Joseph Tice with the Valvoline colors. I like him too. Tom Morano and Austin Coop, 23rd, 24th.
And to round things out, it'll be Mike Maddox and Dylan Coyle, our Race Spot In Race reporter, who will be talking with all night long, P26. Bradley Burke in 27th, Steve Soa 28th, Garrett Pittman 29th, and Chris Treppa in 30th. That's going to be a look top to bottom at your Real Sim Racing starting grid here tonight from Atlanta. And let's talk this 1.54 mile speedway that saw a significant overhaul in the last couple of years, banking at 28 degrees in the corners, but it is a completely different Atlanta. This place has gone through it a couple of times, Terry, right? Not only taking away the, I guess, Homestead-esque shape is the easiest way to explain it to a current audience by adding that quad oval in, and then, of course, the reconfiguration to make it a little super speedway. This racetrack's just about done it all.
That it has, and it withered over time, kind of did its thing where the lack thereof grip kind of came into fruition, and then changing it to this style of racing, it's lost some grip, it's lost the shade that's in iRacing, but let's not forget who created this style of Atlanta. It was none other than iRacing itself. So kudos to iRacing and all of the fantabulous people behind the scenes that made this track come to fruition.
130 laps on board. We're happy that you're with us at RaceSpotTV. Pace car down and in. Liam Sheen in control of the field. Let's go racing at Atlanta. And the first 1.5 miles is in the books. Your pole sitter, Liam Sheen, leads lap number 1. 3-car breakaway, and it's side by side, 4th on back.
Yeah, we're going to see this all night long. No lap 2 caution into turn 1 is the real story of this one. You're going to see drivers be able to tandem away from the draft. The moment you get side by side from 2nd, 4th, 5th, it doesn't matter. You lose the momentum. You lose the ability to make that run, that charge to go forward. We'll see that throughout the night. Who's going to take advantage of the outside lane right now? It's Grant Davis in the 24. He'll jump up there to the outside to try to play his hand in a run for the lead.
Looking topside, has a bit of help. The 07 Dominic Howe going to be 2nd in line up top, not getting to the bumper until just now. And we'll see if the Hasib Design Chevy can get a bit of a run as they come off of the banking. Worth noting that that double white line on the inside of the racetrack acts just like a double yellow line would at Daytona and Talladega. You cannot advance your position willingly below that line. Drivers may be tempted in those kinks in the quad oval, something to keep an eye on over the course of tonight's race. But the outside, chipping and chipping away from 4th to 3rd, now maybe to 2nd. Davis got a disconnected there, though, and the 07's going to have to check up. Bit of an accordion effect to the middle of the racetrack with the 28 of Cody Harris. We saw how checkups affected yesterday's race.
Yeah, it'll affect this race almost the exact same. I mean, you get less reaction time than you would at any other racetrack. Here, you're bunched up. There's not a lot of room. I mean, Daytona, Talladega, you have 4 distinct lanes that you can make it work in. Here, you have maybe 3, 2.5 if you're lucky. You could take that 3rd lane and make it work, but it's very tight. You don't have the ability to necessarily, you're pinching the entire time. You can't give them the room, as you see automatically there. Cody Harris, I believe, kind of popped the wall at a line, and that's going to happen. The air is going to disturb these cars. The tires are going to fall off like normal Atlanta would. Not as crazy, obviously, but the one thing you don't want to see is what Andrew Freenach just did. Little you can't see me look. Hey, his car changed colors too.
That was really bad timing because Davis was getting a huge push from Howe, and he got a little bit spooked by the quick blink from the 88 car, had to lift out of it. That outside just started struggling. I mean, they were good when the 24 jumped up there, and then that last lap and a half was miserable. They were checking up. The 24 just seemingly wasn't going anywhere. We'll see if Freenach moving to the outside breathes some life into the outer lane. The bottom still has that 3-car breakaway. That's almost about a 0.3 of a second advantage. Make it 4 now as the 12 of Cato on the bottom clears those cars topside, and we will see as this run builds. It's going to happen. Do any of those cars on the bottom, if you're second, if you're third, if you're fourth in line, and you see Freenach coming with the speed, do you dare go up and hitch a ride on board with Cato? He's that 4th car in line on the inside.
I'm sad that we didn't tell him I was coming back. I was hoping to see a bagel at some point in time in this one. I don't remember what he said he ate those things for. I think it was like muscle relaxation or something. Good sense of water consumption as well. But the good part about it is for Ross Cato is that outside lane isn't going to get the run right now. And I stand with your point there. The moment you see somebody start to blink, you're very hesitant to get up and push that person. You do not know if they're going to lose connectivity at that moment, which then causes the checkup, which is also then going to cause you to have a crazy reaction. Because if they come back and you're up their tailpipes, per se, you're going to have a bad night. You see right there, Grant Davis, so he'll shoot down to the bottom. Now we'll try to put a different person up to the top. It's Daniel Eberhardt in the 09. We'll see if he can get the top lane rolling. Currently, I don't know. Freenach just doesn't have the speed in the outside lane that what we saw in that 24.
And the 24 notably back down to the inside line where he was once upon a time. And Eberhardt, maybe with a push of the 88, going to go all the way up to the outside wall. I thought maybe Howe was going to dare make it 3 wide. He held off just enough, but it's not the numbers that the outside struggling with. As we get our first look at 3 wide to the very outside goes Harris. That puts the 44 of Lariah in the middle. They've had the cars. They just can't get together consistently enough to make the move, and this 3 wide is going to obliterate any semblance of working together that they had topside. It's going to take a while to pick the pieces back up from this one, but that topside has just been struggling through the opening 10.
Well, there's on board with the man that cheers for the Ohio State University, who lost to the national champion Michigan Wolverines. But look at this. Liam Sheen got a massive run, got checked up a little bit. Now here comes the outside in the middle lane, working it up. You got Brandon Gass, and then you got Eberhardt up there on the outside. I mean, this was the finish last night. If we're doing this on lap 12 coming to 13, boy, oh boy, the ending of this night is going to be even crazier.
You wouldn't have guessed it, but that time by 118 laps to go here at Atlanta, and some of the drivers are feeling nervous, dropping back. This racetrack is not as wide as Daytona or Talladega, and it is a little bit dicey to be doing it this early on. Still a long way from home. We are no longer in the logjam. It's really only 2 cars now up there 3 wide. We referenced Minazzi Major earlier tonight on the grid. His signature green colors in the 82 car top side, and then the 44 Michael Lariah in line. Everybody else has almost agreed to go back to 2x2 with once more the inside line getting a 4-car breakaway. It's been like that for most of tonight's race so far.
Heck no. Take the outside lane and roll with it. You ain't here to ride around. You don't want to ride 2x2 all night long. See some boys get up there. If you got a spotter and they're watching, Terry's telling you to take it 3 wide. Go up there to that outside. Somebody listen. The Havoline colors got up there to make it work. Don't ride 2x2. This ain't the Daytona 500 and fuel mileage in stage 1. You're racing for an RSR win. You're racing for one of the longest running leagues on iRacing, one of the most prestigious leagues as well, as you see Liam Sheen taking a run for the lead there with the 54 or the 94 of Agnell Phillip. Get your butt up there and run 3 wide. You can make it stick. You're some of the best. There's a pro world champion licensed driver in this field. Take advantage of it.
I'll tell you what, they took advantage. Eberhard down the backstretch. He kind of washed up a little bit to the middle, and Liam Sheen was so quick to undercut, and Eberhard's going to be fine. He's still leading the top side. He only falls to 5th, but it allowed Sheen, Phillip, Davis, and Larson to get by on the inside of the racetrack. And again, the bottom somehow always ends up with a gap at about that size. Of course, you can keep an eye on the running positions on that leaderboard left-hand side of your screen. Green means good, red means bad in terms of who's moving up and down the night. Going to have a lot of passes, I think, as these drivers are racing close quarters. Last time by, your top 14 cars separated by less than 1 second. You can see a small break there towards the tail end of the top, I'd say 14 or so. Small gap, but still very much one large lead group. But out of shape that time. That was Larson who got a touch of the apron in the 51.
I see here, I thought for a second I was going to make a joke. I thought we were just getting ready for Christmas on the timing chart with the green and the red. It truly is the most wonderful time of the year. RSR's back. That's huge. That's the most massive. And we get stage racing. No caution, but we get a stage break at 65 to give people some points and reward it. That also kind of counts into why they're racing so hard. While I said points doesn't matter at this moment, there's no sense in necessarily thinking, oh, well, I got to fight for points in this one. You're fighting for wins. But with that extra added little stage bunch, what was it last year? We saw somebody miss the playoffs by a grand total of like 3 points that they didn't get in. So that's going to be the big key. You're giving them an extra incentive and says, hey, look, boys, you might not win the damn race, but you can get this many points at the end of the night. That helps your total. And then you don't have to win it. You can finish 5th, 6th, 7th, and you still tied up there for either A, the most points in the night, or B, you were second instead of having, had a bad run. So we'll see. I think right now, everybody's starting to calm down just a little bit. Everybody heeded for my advice, which is good. And then you have a big straggle of cars outside of this top 25 that just said, no, I'm good. You guys do your thing up there.
They were pretty vocal that they're not a fan of how aggressive things were getting early, and they have decided to drop back at about a 3-second disadvantage. Good move in terms of keeping the race car in one piece. There's always the risk that if you drop and lose connection with the lead pack, that if this race goes green, you essentially take yourself out of contention for winning it. The way they've been racing, I don't know. And speaking of which, Eberhard comes down, barely gets a bit of the nose of the 51, got a little bit sideways. He doesn't miss a beat, jumps right back up to the outside. So the 09 is hoping that a bit of aggression going to make up for kind of the natural speed that's been lacking top side. Another bump there. Freenosh got him out of shape. Andrew did not want to go to the third lane, but a 09 car had to check up the save the race car. And Freenosh going to get stuck up top. Does anybody go with him? Cody Harris thinks about it in the 28 car. Minazzi Major doesn't know what lane he wants to go in.
Well, it also doesn't help that he blinked again. A lot of people are going to just steer clear of him, just like people do my ex-wife. But nobody wants to get behind somebody in that type of situation. If they start blinking on you, you don't know necessarily where they're going to be at. This is not the style of racing. You want anybody leading the line that's having a connectivity issue. You pretty much want who you know. You're comfortable with who you got. I mean, Liam Sheen, Agnell Phillip, they're very comfortable with one another. They race in virtually the exact same splits almost every single time they get in one together. They've probably felt out the car. They understand how to push. They're quite confident in the ability that they have because they're used to it. Now, you get people a little further back in this field that are new to the series, like a Brett Larson, a Cam Patterson. those type of drivers you're not used to. Braden Whitaker, you're not necessarily used to him either, as one gets loose in the mid pack. And that's what I'm talking about, inexperience of not racing around drivers on this type of level, right? You're used to your top splits, and you alluded to it as well. We're used to doing this the first race of the week. Officials hadn't even started by the time we kick RSR off. So none of these drivers had time other than their practice session. Most of these drivers that are normally splitted together in the iRacing world, they've raced 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 times this week with each other. That's going to be the difference in your teamwork versus your non-teamwork. And your cautions might be from the inexperience of people that didn't put time on the sim this week.
Here's a look at what the lead pack is doing compared to that secondary pack.
That second pack ain't doing crap.
23rd on back, and last lap alone, half a second slower than some of the cars in the lead pack. 6/10 slower than the cars in the lead. That's the risk. They are safe if the lead pack wrecks, because they should have ample time to hit the brakes and just stop and wait for the smoke to clear. But there's always the risk that if this race stays green and you're losing time at that type of pace, you are not going to be in a situation to finish within 3 laps of the race leaders. Just not going to happen if that pace continues and we stay green.
It's risk versus reward, Evan. I mean, it's like anything you do in life always has some type of risk assessment to it. I don't think it's a smart idea. I'm not a fan of riding. I've never been a fan of it. I mainly only do super speedway racing when it comes to the iRacing side of things. Like, I love, Daytona week, Talladega week, and Atlanta week. That's the most you ever see me on. Now that I got a kid, she kind of takes up my time, and the wife hates me on the sim. But when I did get to, most of my 11 wins came on super speedway races, because that's the most fun I get out of the service, is getting in here and mixing it up with people. I want to lead every lap. I want the Liam Sheen, Agnell Phillip, Daniel Eberhard approach. They don't want anybody else to control their fate. They want nobody else to control their destiny. If you lead and control this race, if you get turned from second, you're not going to bed tonight going, damn, what could have been if I would have sit up there and it took this run at the lead and I sit 20th all race long. You were competitive. You were riding up front, but that second pack ain't doing a whole lot of diddly nothing. They're going to get lapped in probably 2 laps if they continue on with the pace that they're on.
And James Ross has also lost the lead draft. He was not initially in that secondary pack. So when we were looking at the lead pack and the second pack, we didn't see him. He's on Gilligan's Island on his own. Caught by that secondary pack, because even though 4 cars is a heck of a lot slower than 21, it's still faster than 1. So they're going to get him eventually. It's going to turn that secondary pack into a pack of 5, but James just lost grip of the tail end of the lead pack. It has been slipping back as well. So the lead pack now stands at 21 cars strong, and there's old Jay Ross in the 14 car, Texaco colors, looking good, but not what he wanted, because my thought is if he kind of lost touch with the lead pack on his own, that's different than intentionally dropping it back and kind of knowing the consequences.
Well, if they get one more driver, there'll be a whole pack of gum. Remember those small packs that you get, or is it 5 that comes in that one? Not a big gum chewer. I think it's 6. Maybe the crowd can answer that one for me. They're like, I think inflation wise, they're like 69 or 70 cents now for the pack. Didn't
they start taking like the pack where there would be 6 slots, and then in one of the slots they just didn't put a piece of gum?
Yeah, that's right. Because they put it's like a little wrapper that sits in there. That's crap. That's something we really should be talking about in this race. Not the race itself. We should talk about why they took the piece of gum out of that pack. But once he gets back there to that pack, they're a whole pack of gum. They just need a little bit of bubble in between them, so it's that piece of paper instead. But, 33 laps in, the fact that we have not seen a yellow flag yet, I'm kind of surprised. But then again, I'm not. And remember when I said in 2 laps we would be lapping those people? Here we go. We're getting ready to lap them.
Cue the Jaws music. They're coming, and this is going to be interesting. This is, I think, going to be not quite identical to what we see when you're at a Daytona Talladega, because there, the speed difference is a little bit more than we're looking at now between lead lap cars and lapped cars. Typically, the speed difference is so much vast between the lead pack and the lapped cars, that those lapped cars will get passed and they'll kind of get sucked into the pack towards the tail end, right? Eventually the draft will pick them up. This is going to be interesting. Does Sheen decide to try to make a move knowing that the top side has not been great tonight? The lead 4 cars tonight have always been for the bottom. So you're on board with Steve Soa, who is the tail end of pack number 3. With Garrett Pittman, Mike Maddox, Eric Papineau, and the aforementioned Soa. What do the leaders do in relation to them? Well, Shane's going to go low, and they're going to be courteous, yielding to the outside line. At least 2 of them will be, and Maddox will join up. Pittman goes low. So that was more sportsmanlike than I was anticipating. I thought those cars were going to hold the bottom, and Shane would have had a decision on his hand and a spinner on the apron. Garrett Pittman saved the race car. You saw it off of the shot of one of the leaders. He went to the apron, Terry, had too much speed, almost wrecked that bow tie.
Well, and that's the biggest thing as well, and I was kind of curious why he went to the apron, because the banking change is so different. You can't necessarily keep it wide open. You can't even really keep it half open. Right? There's no such availability in there. For the question that's out there in the chat, there was no pre-race. We don't do that here at RSR. The estimated fuel window, I do believe it's somewhere in the 60s. I think it's 62 laps they can go on a tank of fuel in here. Tires we don't really care about. They'll want to change them, but if it's under green, they probably won't. We'll take a look at replay there. That was a heck of a save. These next-gen cars are difficult to drive, but he was able to get a thing bottomed out just a little bit and then keep it back up there. But I can't say what I would say, what I say over the radio to people or the voice chat when there's lap cars that I'm about to lap and they don't move because there's rules here at RaceSpot. But there's a lot of bleeps that go in it. And at the end of the day, you're going a lap down for a reason. Don't make it harder for me to go around you or make it hard for the leaders to go around you. Just move. Good on them for moving. I don't know why they scattered like ants, but hey, they moved.
When all of a sudden, look at this lead pack of 4, 1.8 seconds.
And gaining.
Everybody else. All that it took, even with those lapped cars yielding high, it put a little bit of discombobulation in the pack. They had a brief scare with some 4 wide, and they haven't been able to shake it. They are still 3 wide. The 6 cars complaining on the radio that we're hurting ourselves. Brandon Gass is pleading with the rest of the cars. We can't keep running 3 wide. Those cars are more than 4 seconds behind the lead, and they were just in the lead pack no less than 5 laps ago, and now they're 4+ seconds behind because those lead 4 stayed single file and they got stuck 2 by 2. So the lead pack has been fractured into 3 groups. The lead breakaway of 4, and then this is the first of the other packs, 2 by 2, and then on the right side of the screen, the group that we just checked in on. So lead pack has been split apart.
Well, and if that second pack was smart, you would let Cody Harris, if you're the 51 of Larson, back out of it a little bit. Have everybody behind you back out, get him in, or make him go to the tail end and then pick it up. There's no reason, and I say this all the time when it comes into this type of racing, you're racing yourself at the end of the day. And if you start to lose the lead pack like they have by a lot, I mean, 3.2 seconds, they have lost it. It's not because of a lack of skill. It's because at the end of the day, what are you doing to help yourself? Like, do we have Sam Nieto pushing Davis at this moment? No, their bumpers are not locked. They're not pushing. There's no push at all. You got the 10 back there at Patterson. He's not up. He doesn't need to be pushing Sam Nieto, but he needs to be up there keeping him keeping him at the push part. Like, the third car in this style of racing is the most important car, in my opinion. People can disagree with me. I don't care. I get paid to be an opinionist. Like, if the 2 and the 24 are pushing, the 10 should be right there. The 4th car should be about a quarter of a car length away, and that should be the staggeredness that you have, and you allowed them to get air as it goes. They're just continuously hemorrhaging spots and hemorrhaging time, while Agnell Phillip, every back straightaway, every front straightaway gets a run and just jolts Liam Sheen out even further.
Yeah, you even saw the 3rd car in line there, Eberhardt pushing Phillip into Sheen. So they are bump drafted up towards the front. Lap time for Liam Sheen last time, a 30.145. The lap time for the leader of the secondary pack, Grant Davis, a 32.62. So even with the strength in numbers, which again, this is a super speedway now, but comparing this to Daytona and Talladega, Terry, it would be much quicker for that secondary pack to catch these leaders, even if they do not have that same finesse or that same coordination, just because the number of cars, right? That has more of an effect at those tracks. You can't get away with that kind of fail-safe. Here at Atlanta, more cars does not mean that you're just going to catch them inherently. Now, they have an advantage in theory if they could work together, but it's key. And one could argue it's probably easier at a track like this to get 4 cars on the same idea than it is to get 16.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right, but I disagree with your point of at Talladega and Daytona. This method works anywhere if you do it properly. There's a driver that just won the Jesse Iwuji race, the E-Racer one, or whatever that one was called. I can't remember. He won that race. And this is the same style he preaches. Like, we preach this. Cody Niegels is an absolute genius when it comes to this style of racing. The same thing with Garrett Maines, Jason Maines, his father. This is the style that they do. And I've raced with Eberhard in this type of environment, and he is, spot on when it comes to the moment that second car gets disconnected from the leader. You push like hell to get them back to the leader. You make the leader, the fastest car on the track or the second fastest car on the track, because you do not want to lose the energy. Like, look, the moment Agnell Phillip comes out of the corner, he's right there. Like, he's giving him the shot into the corner, and he's locking bumpers here. Like, he's locked on. They'll disconnect. Agnell Phillip gets his air. Here comes Daniel Eberhard. He'll get to his bumper, give him the bubble, and now he gets right back to the bumper of Liam Sheen, and all down the straightaway. Look at the ticker, 5.181. Like, it has stayed consistent, and now they gain 2 seconds. But if you go back here to Joseph Tice, he's quarter throttle. Like, he's quarter throttle. There's no, you back up like the pendulum. You come to me. I give you the shot. I mean, look, he gets to him. He's lifting. Like, he's lifting. Like, he just continuously has to lift. If you go to the second car in this one, he's probably full throttle. But is he locking bumpers with the leader of the second pack is going to be the problem. Nope, he's lifting.
You're on board there. Sam Nieto, second car in line. Let's see as they come off of the corner. He's going to want to get connected.
Oh, no, he's getting a push from behind him. What the hell are y'all doing?
He got what he needed. He got to the bumper off of 4. The problem is when he got the shot behind from Patterson, it moved him up and he had to lift. It got him out of line with the 24. He's not going to push him being skewed way out to the right rear and had to check up. Now, down the backstretch, this is what they want. He's pushing the 24. That was okay. But there is more of a chance for that kind of ping pong effect if you're getting hit from behind and hitting the car in front of you, for a car to get spit out of line or have to check up to avoid crashing these things. That makes it more difficult with this many cars, and they just continue to bleed time to the leaders with more than now 50 laps complete in this race. And I promise you, Grant Davis is frustrated. Talked to him pre-race. He was just confirming with all the new rules. End of lap 65 is when we pay out extra points, right? I told him, yep, that's it. After 65, he said, all right, I'm here to win that too. He's frustrated because there's points being left on the table here.
Yeah, I mean, I would be frustrated as well. And if we can stay on the second pack, I don't like to, to produce why we do it, but just look at the disorganization that you have in this pack. And as I look at this pack, I'm not judging based off of licenses. I'm not just judging based off of iRating. Mine isn't that great either. But there's a science to this. I don't run as many officials as normal. When you come off the exit of the corner here on turn 4, you're right there. You're locked onto the back bumper. You see it right there. Sam Nieto got to the bumper. Why is the 10 that far off of him going into the corner? Why is the 51 that far off of the back bumper of the 10? There's a ton of snaking going on down the back straightaway, where if you run the line, like if you stay on the line perfectly in a symmetrical shape as this track is, you get the run. Nieto, the first 2 cars aren't the problem. Your third car is the problem. If you know that, like if you're in this line right here and you go, wow, we really aren't making time. We just lost a second and a half. Hey, dog, I know you want to be in 7th, but, you know, for the betterment of this race, we're not going to get a caution. Like, we're single file. We're 3 packs. Move. Like, move them. You've already watched him push a driver out of the way. They did it to Andrew Freenage. Push him up. Move him out of the way. Get him up off the groove. If you're Larson or if you're Coop or if you're Winemaster, like, you know, kind of play the old style racing we saw with the Gen 6 car where you just, you know, wash them on up the racetrack. But that's a ton of breakup. I mean, they're just completely disorganized. Now they broke into another pack where strength in numbers just gave up.
When you see the bottom right, the bubble for the points payout, only the top 10 cars get halfway stage bonus points. And right now, Windmaster, kind of that candy apple red number 9, that is the bubble. He is P10. He would be set to walk away with 1 point. And Manager, check out their 82 car, tiptoes up the hill. Harris going to go underneath him there, and there is also a lot of frustration on the radio with this entire pack. It's building, but this may be what I was about to pose. 10 laps away for the midway bonus. For that lead pack of 4, they are in the catbird seat. They may just stay in line, not fight for the difference in the points to keep speed. But these cars, not all these cars are going to get points. So do they start fighting for the bonus? They can get at best P5. That's Davis leading the line. That would be a decent haul of points at 6.
Well, and you know, I just said it. I mean, I don't know if there is a spotter watching this for some of these drivers where it's like, get the problem cars out of your way. If you see them causing an issue with your forward momentum not going forward, you're stagnant, you're losing time. I mean, you're getting your ass whipped by 4 cars. Like, that's just, I'm going to call a spade for a second. Move them. Tell them to go. Get them out of your line. Like, there is no reason that you should be hemorrhaging this much time to 4 cars. And if you're any of these drivers, the moment you see somebody check up, even give you a half a lane, fill the hole. Go for it. If you think you can push better, take it. You're going to get points in about 5 laps, and you're going to get the position to then try to cut into now a 7-second deficit because you couldn't stay organized.
And you can hear on the driver radio channel that we have an ear in on just how much frustration there is for the drivers, but splintering continues to be the key word tonight as drivers just do not or cannot work together, and they're getting outclassed by those top 4. And give credit as well to those top 4 as Windmaster now going to find himself on the outs. He was the driver on the bubble in a points paying spot. Now he is on his own on the outside. That moves the 82 car of Major up into the bubble spot in the number 10 position in line. But I think also some of this has to be credit to those top 4, Terry, and not just discredit to the other amounts of cars, because, you know, we've got the Coyle group. They've got, you know, Davis, Burke, Morano, Ross. That's a group of 5 back in the pack. They were that 3rd pack once upon a time. They've been pretty well coordinated, and their lap times are still slower than the leaders by 2 to 3 tenths of a second per lap. So I think part of it is, yes, there is some miscommunication with this group. I think the numbers hurts them in this case. But I think the other half is the top 4 are just 4 really good race car drivers.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, I'm taking nothing away from what the top 4, Hal, Eberhardt, Phillip, and Sheen have done. They understood how to get around the traffic. The traffic also calls part of this as well, because once you disconnect, like once you get that separation where the checkup had to happen, because I mean, I don't know if you remember all the way back when those lap cars did go a lap down, when one went down on the apron, that bottlenecked the field. They were terrified that they were all going to wind up in a wreck, so they checked up. They lost a second and a half because of that. Then you had the drivers that went to the outside lane. The outside lane had nowhere to go, so they all shuffled down to the bottom, caused another checkup that caused a big issue as well. So the only problem that I see, and I'm not listening to the radio's channel, or the driver's channel, but I mean, I'm voicing the same frustrations that they are, I'm sure, is why can't we get organized here? Why can't we be as organized as the top 4 as Sheen got booted out of the race lead? Axel Phillip has taken it with 1 lap to go.
He apologized to him, but said, I got to go, and went underneath, and the battle for the lead is on, so they are not deciding, to an extent, to stay in line. They're going to fight for the 10 points up for grabs next time by, and this could have broader ranging consequences for Sheen, who is losing touch with these 3 entirely now. So 1 lap to go until the midway stage bonus, and Liam Sheen has lost a ton of speed. The 78 car is off pace. Problems for Sheen in 3rd, watching the battle for the points bubble up top and the battle for the lead on the bottom. 10, 9, and 8 points going to be available to those 3 cars on the inside. And now that they've shook off Sheen, does Eberhardt go for it? He's got the run, looks topside, stays in line, and Agnell Phillip takes the 10 bonus points. Eberhardt gets 9. Howe walks away with 8. Here's the big dash to the line in the battle for P10. And Lariah is in with the bonus points. He'll get a single one. Manatsi Major just misses out in the number 11 spot. But major issues for Liam Sheen. I don't know if it was a fuel issue, Terry, having led that line, but there are a lot of cars now desperate to come to pit road. Here come the leaders. And a big mistake. Dominic Howe has missed pit road and has to cut through the grass to get in.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. He's going to lose a ton of time because he had to come to a complete stop to get it done. I said 62-ish laps. They were also saving a little bit. So I don't expect to see drivers go 67 laps again. Sheen did run out of fuel. I mean, there's no way he did not. You see it here. I mean, he was dang near stopped on the bottom of the racetrack. He's easily going to lose 2 laps in this one. He's praying for a caution from this lead pack that's now led by Joseph Tice, Sam Nieto, Lariah's up here, Harris is in the run. All of our top 10 drivers have now assumed it. Freenage is in, Austin Coop is in. It'll be a mad dash for pit lane here.
Interesting to see that these cars have been able to go a little bit longer in the bigger pack, a little bit more universal fuel saving, but tough that Liam Sheen, leading that lead pack, who we had spent so much time complimenting, was unable to save the fuel that the cars in his wake were able to, and is not able to make it to the halfway point. Costs him dearly. Now all these cars continuing to fight, running slow lap times. I mean, a half a second slower than what we saw when even they were lined up single file. So losing some time here as we'll have cars blending out onto the racetrack. Some cars coming down in turn number 3 to come on pit road. That's going to be interesting, with some cars trying to actively blend out. Other cars pitting.
Oh, Nieto!
Brought it down. Almost a huge wreck there.
Oh, boy. Hard drop for him there. It's a beautiful 2-car. I kind of missed the Miller Lite look on the scheme, but yeah, he almost got clobbered by the drivers behind him. I don't know why they came in turn 3. That's the NASCAR rule, not an iRacing
not
rule.
Not an iRacing. That's worth noting.
Yeah, you can drive right up to the pit lane, right to the commitment line. As long as you're at 45 miles an hour, who cares why they chose that one? They lost more time doing it that way than they would have just coming off before, like you see it here with the drivers that are coming in now with George, Lariah, Gas, and this crew. But wow, what a mistake for a lot of these drivers, just coming to one of the toughest pit lanes you're going to see all season.
We had a 4-car lead pack, and of that group of 4, Howe missed the pit road entry, had to essentially come to a stop to get to pit road. Sheen ran out of fuel about a lap and a half too early. So what is that lead pack going to look like as this all cycles through? Could they possibly survive without that big advantage? More takers to pit road. Cato, Wandmaster, Whitaker, George are in. And then Agnell Phillip and Daniel Eberhardt will maintain the race lead. They will cycle back to that point. You can see some cars with them. Those are lapped cars, Dylan Coyle and Bradley Burke, that they are driving with. Those cars have pitted. They are simply just the first cars 1 lap down. That may be a saving grace for Phillip and Eberhardt, the fact that they do have some additional cars around them, and you have to go back quite a ways to the next car on the lead lap in Dominic Howe, who lost some time. So I think this would have been worse for Phillip and Everhart if they were on their own. It's not going to be the same cars they were working with, but I think they'll take the numbers, and they're going to find a way through here, but the track's blocked. That 17 car went up and shut the door, so they're going to be forced to check up for Papanow, who now gets discarded on the third lane.
Yeah, and you asked if they will survive. I hope they got the Gloria Gaynor in them to get their way through it, and they did. I mean, they're 5 seconds ahead of Howe, who had to come to a stop. So technically, no harm, no foul if you're the 0-7, because you're still in third. You know, you have some cars around you, I do believe, to give you that chance to go make the run. You probably won't make it all up by yourself because he's losing some time here. He might catch back there to the Minotzi Major in the Patterson, pack that you got. Oh, no. Everhart got a pop from behind, and there's the wreck.
Coil sideways. Do they save it? Yes. No caution
Somehow.
for the moment. Big time problems. Brett Larson was the one who had to go all the way to the apron to wrangle it. Coyle can't understand what was going on, but Everhart nearly got turned by Larson, then came back up the hill, put him 3 wide, and I don't know how they didn't wreck those cars.
Yeah, pure talent. I mean, that's absolute skill to do what he just did. Now he got back to Agnell Phillip. Is he going to be able to keep this run? Coyle did a phenomenal job there, not putting himself in a bad position, able to hold on to that. That all stemmed from a bad push. They gave Everhart the push, got him out of line, and Everhart's like, hey man, I'm second. I'm racing for a win. Like, you guys, what are y'all doing? Like, that really wouldn't be a person at a plate track I want to make mad in the second week of the season, because I do know we got Bristol and Vegas coming up. Like, you got to pick and choose who you piss off and who you don't early on in the season.
Long way to go. Still even here tonight, and of course, after tonight, still 28 races to go this season. There's that second look. And then again, Larson had a whole world of hurt just trying to catch that car again on the apron, but was able to do so. And that's what at least the third, fourth incident that's similar to that we've gotten away with so far tonight, and have been incident free now through the opening 76 laps completed in this one. With all of those pit stops happening after the halfway point, we would think that everybody aiming to go to the end on a fuel and may be good. The only driver, unless Terry, you saw some others, that I noticed with the fuel issues was Liam Sheen. And Sheen was the lead car in that lead draft, leading 59 laps. So if I'm Agnell Phillip, I don't know if I want to lead every lap to the end of the race. It's an interesting spot for the 94.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple back in the pack. I mean, I'm kind of looking at the pit time that they were in the box, and the only one who was in there over 16 seconds was Tom Morano. He's 1 lap down, a little further back. I mean, they're all the ones that pitted 11, 12 laps ago. I'm nervous. If I'm the top 5, I'm nervous, because Michael Araya, Ross Cato, Brandon Gass, Jaron Weinmaster, they're theoretically in the catbird seat because they pitted 9, 6, 8, 7 laps ago. Like, if I'm those drivers and we get a late race yellow, you're not hurting for fuel at the moment. I do agree. I'm not wanting to be in Agnell Phillip's shoes, but guess what? He's got the magical ticket to it's going to take him to the playoffs. He won. He could throw caution to the wind. I don't think he really cares. He can technically back the pace up if he wanted to and stop running 29.9s and start running 30s. He would be okay.
The only cars to have pitted earlier than Agnell would have been Sheen, who had to pit that 1 lap earlier. He pitted 14 laps ago. Eric Papanow also pitted 14 laps ago. Everybody else at least on the number of Agnell Phillip and Daniel Everhart, if not better, having pitted after them with more fuel saving in the draft. There is an interesting mix, right? This lead group of 6 race cars I believe only has 2 on the lead lap. Agnew Phillip leads it. He's the race leader. Daniel Eberhardt's in second. He's P2. Then it's Dylan Coyle. The 79 car is in about the best spot he could ask for, because if there were to be a yellow, he's technically the first car 1 lap down. He's in the lucky dog spot, but he'll be fighting with Bradley Burke directly behind him, with Papanow, and with Maddox. Those are also lap down race cars to try to fight for that golden ticket. Then you go back to P3 Dominic Howe. He is in the second pack, but is also the only lead lap car in his pack, and he's leading it, which gives him no fuel saving advantages, similar to Agnew Phillip. Howe's drafted with Larson, Davis, Ross, and Pittman. They are all lapped cars, but that lapped car support is allowing him to stay ahead of what was the secondary pack for fourth on back with Minazzi Major and company. They're still 8 seconds off of the leaders, but Terry, their lap times have been better off of this restart cycle, or should I say the pit cycle, sorry. Their lap times have been better compared to the race leaders than they were beforehand. Now, it's going to take a lot of digging to get out of 8 seconds, but it is at least a step in the right direction with just under 50 to go. It's also so dangerous to be the last car in any line. And I mentioned, there's no real fuel saving advantages for Howe. I think he and his pack of misfit toys, if you will, those other lapped cars, they're going to get caught by Minazzi Major, Cam Peterson, Austin Coop and company. That's just going to become one large secondary group. If that wasn't the case, I'd started thinking, does Dominic Howe want to drop out of the lead spot in that pack, get to the tail end of it, and start to draft? But I don't think you want that either, because the last car in line is not a very comfortable spot to be in. You can lose it just so quickly. And on the bottom, you see Minazzi Major and company, pushed by Peterson, Austin Coop, Michael Araya, Ross Cato, Brandon Gass, and Jaron Windmaster in that group. They are trying to catch up to Dominic Howe and the lapped cars that are in between the 2 groups of cars that we're looking at. There's another group in between these 2. You can see them right there down the backstretch. That's not the leaders that you saw on the bottom screen. That is that in-between pack. They're going to get there at some point, and we'll see then when they have that huge pack of cars again, do they suffer the same way they did in the first half with too many cars, too many cooks in the kitchen, and not being able to get on the same page? They have caught them on the bottom. Ross Cato and company have caught up to the back end of the Minazzi Major group. Cato, Gass, and Windmaster had started dropping back. They have caught up to Major, Patterson, Coop, and Laraya. That's step number 1 in terms of kind of assembling all the Infinity Stones to try to make a crack at these top 2 race car drivers. Those 2 packs have caught each other. Now they still need to get up to Dominic Howe. Howe is less than 2 seconds up the road and is likely to still happen. Meanwhile, these leaders, I don't think Agnew Phillip, Daniel Eberhardt have any intention of doing anything besides running 1-2 right now, and I don't even think they're that worried about how good the push is from behind, but it is not a bulletproof plan because all those cars thrown on the back have been quicker than your leaders. Terry, you mentioned earlier how that 3rd car in line is so important. Dylan Coyle notably nowhere near as aggressive as we had seen when that lead pack in the first half was 4 lead lap cars, and it is costing Agnew and Daniel time every single time around. Well, as they continue just shy of about 185 miles an hour around this virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, let's go trackside and listen to it. This is RaceSpot Fan Immersion. Well, Daniel Eberhard and Agnew Phillip talking over the radio, and they are noticing what we have been watching on that scoring pylon, and that is that the cars from a third on back have not only all caught one another, but they are catching those top two. Now, the rate has slowed a little bit since they merged into one larger pack. We saw earlier it is more challenging with one big pack of race cars to get everything coordinated, but they are starting to get a little bit nervous. Right now it holds steady at about 6 seconds flat. This lead pack has lost some weight off of the back end. Unfortunately, Maddox and Burke both losing the draft, meaning that Papanow and Coyle really need to stick with Eberhard and Phillip, or it's going to be tough for those two cars to do it on their own.
Well, I mean, they gained some time here. They're increasingly picking the rate up that they've been going. They've actually started pushing just a little bit harder. Oh no. Are they choosing to get behind them?
I mentioned Agnew Phillip does not want to lead, most likely, because we saw Liam Sheen unable to make it on the field to the end. I wonder if that was the plan, although Eberhard gives him a whale of a push. I don't know if Eberhard wants to get in line. I think Eberhard is completely fine with making sure Agnew Phillip can't save fuel.
Look at Coyle on the bottom. You saw him there when he went into turns 1 and 2. He can't keep that car down. He's loose. Either A, he's cooked the tire, or B, the steering in that car is not to his liking. There's something wrong there because he's twitching the moment he gets down to the bottom. When he gets to that white and red lane, when he gets to the middle, he's fine. You see him twitch a little bit. He bobbles up the racetrack, but that's going to be an issue because he's not able to stay connected to our two leaders. And I don't know. I think Eberhard might have just said, you know what? I'm going to drop back here, save some gas, and then he quickly got picked up by Agnew Phillips. Like, no, not getting behind him. We will lose time.
Dylan Coyle notably did take 4 tires on the pit stop, but this is interesting, right? As we were leading into and then during that fan immersion, I promise you, those other cars were much faster than these leaders. Is a little bit of the wall there. That time off of turn number 2 for the 17 car, 4th in line. Bit of a scare for Papanow. They were closing at one point a half a second per lap on the leaders. They got it down to 6, and then Terry immediately started losing time again. And they started losing time when their pack of 8 or whatever caught the other pack of 6 and became a pack of 14, right? That's the math. They struggled the second it became that one larger group. They were not struggling when it was a bit of a smaller, more manageable set of 7 or 8 or whatever it was. The second those other 2 packs caught each other, instantly, time lost every single lap.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm kind of in awe that we are potentially going to go caution free at a race here at Atlanta, and B, how in the world do y'all let 2 drivers hold a 7-second lead on the pack at a super speedway race? I would understand if we were at Watkins Glen, Sonoma, hell, even the Roval. We are at Atlanta, where you are supposed to draft 7 seconds. That's wild.
And I go back to how quickly this all happened. There was some lap traffic. They yielded high. All seemed fine. One car got a little bit loose on the apron, checked up a couple of the cars, and that quickly, in that 5-lap window, we went from a lead pack of 15 cars within a second and a half to this. It allowed that initial top 4 breakaway of Phillip, of Eberhard, plus Howe, plus Sheen to check out, and nobody has been able to dig out of that trench since. And over the course of a 130-lap race, you think, oh, there'll be time, right? The comers and goers, we talked right off of the bat, the cars who decided to drop to the back, seemingly, right, to kind of yield and get out of the chaos. That could hurt you if the race goes green, but I think I continue to be surprised by just how quickly the race transformed.
Yeah, I mean, in the blink of an eye, we went from everybody to nobody. And, I thought coming into this race that, yeah, if we saw, 2, 4, 6 cars kind of break away, it would be because the rest of the field had damage. That has not been the case. There has not been one incident for calls in this event. It has been clean and green since the initial green flag drop. We even saw green flag pit stops in this event, and nobody has done anything to put their car in a bad position. We've seen some incidents, but it didn't bring out the yellow flag. There's been no damage to the cars. One of them that was in one is sitting second still with an 8.5 second lead. So, I mean, push. There's going to be a time here in a second, Evan, that push is going to come to shove, and these drivers, this pack right here, is going to get antsy and be like, "I've been behind you all race long. I'm tired of you," and they're going to get aggressive. But we got to have something.
We saw the leaders, I thought, initially starting to fight with each other for the stage points. It turns out it was kind of Liam Sheen begging and pleading to get to the halfway point. He couldn't. They had to make the move on him because he was running out of fuel. That secondary pack did fight for those bonus points. That did happen. And eventually, if they continue to lose time, since they've grouped back up, they have lost 2.2 seconds to the leaders. It's just astonishing. The second they got together, they lost time. Howe's last lap time as the leader of that pack, a 32.87. It was a 32.94 for Agnew Phillips, so pretty even. But overall, continuing to lose time. You're right, eventually they're going to be tired of it. They're going to start to fight, and that will put us in probably the most uncomfortable spot we've been in all night, where we're most likely to see an incident, because you can make an excuse away not going for some stage points, right? I'll take the 3. I'm not going to wreck the car for 3 or 4 stage points. I'll stay in line. This is the end of the race, paying big points, and it's a point per position. Now's the time to get to work, and I think they may have already reached that point, Terry, where they're tired of trying to work together, because it's on. Lariah to the top side, to Coop to the outside, and we've got a two-way battle in this pack for third on back.
Yeah, I mean, you got to fight for your right to party, and they're going to do it. I mean, they're all antsy. They know at this moment they have no shot of winning this race. Why would you sit back here and just ride in line? You're not catching them. You're losing time. You lost 2.6 seconds in a matter of like 10 laps. So go race each other. Go get the best finishing position you could get. Third's right there. Like, crazy enough to think that. Third's sitting in your mirror. Go get him. First and second have checked out. They're in Montana. Everybody else is in New York. So just figure out what you can. Control your variable. Control what you can control. And if you're Coop, Lariah, Davis, Major, Sheen, who rebounded nicely. Sheen runs out of gas, went a lap down, got his lap back, sitting in 8th. He has a chance to finish top 3 in this event. And if they decide to wreck, then everybody's got a shot to win it.
James Ross's night has come to a close. He goes to the garage. It is the first DNF of this Atlanta 200. We race on, though, 3 wide. Coop going to get shuffled out 3 wide. No help for the 53 Toyota on the outside line. It's the 44 Lariah leading through the middle, and Dominic Howe staying low to the bottom. So Austin Coop, no help. Quite surprised as he's going to get shuffled to the back, and that's a surefire way to lose about a dozen spots. Those cars up front kind of give him a little bit of draft down the backstretch, but nobody going with Austin Coop. That's going to be a tough one for the 53, and he's going to have to really work now with 18 laps to go to make up those spots.
I thought we were going to see a wreck there for a second when they got 3 wide. The middle kind of shot up the racetrack just a little bit, but it didn't. I ended up, everybody was able to save it. We'll see. He could check in line back here, but, I mean, he lost a ton. And I mean, a ton of positions. He went right to the back half of this one. And I thought Tice was going to make a run on him as well, but he decided to be nice. Now you're starting to see raciness come involved in here. You'll see some 3 wide, some 4 wide. Once we get to about 10 laps to go, that's when this pack's going to get insane. They're going to want to push as hard as they can. The pusher is going to get pushed. The pushee is going to get pushed even harder. And you see it here. Look at the bottom. Oh, Davis almost got turned.
Davis pulls back up in line. The 24 is going to keep going. It's the preferred lane still on the bottom of the racetrack. It's going to keep the 2 of Sam Nieto topside. Nieto working with the 12 of Cato, the 82 Major, and more. This is looking like what the opening 10 laps of this race was. But all of this is more than 8 seconds off of the leaders, fighting for third place on back. 15 laps to go at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next time by, can anybody get to that 44 Lariah? Here comes Sheen, sidesteps to the outside.
Is it weird to think, Evan, that now that they're racing, they actually gained some time on the leaders? It's wild to put that into perspective, but Sheen takes the outside here, put him to third now. Lariah still sitting in fourth, first car on the bottom. Nieto, after having some issues, he's worked his way back up into this top 5, top 6 battle. Side drafting is going to become a big factor as well, putting that nose right on the quarter panel to try to slow him up. I'm telling you, 10 laps to go, we're going to get a caution.
He's putting it in the bank. We'll see. There's the look at the top side of the screen. The battle for third on back, and on the bottom, it's the battle for first. Battle used lightly. Eberhardt and Phillip, 2 unlikely foes working together here. They almost wadded him up again. Top side there. That 07 car, Howe, got a little bit tight. Center of 1 and 2, and everybody had to scoot up, give him some space. They're going to be okay. But it is a full-on brawl in the battle for third place on back. But if no one's willing to go to a third lane, where do you go right now?
Home. You go home. And home is where the heart is. The heart should be in victory lane. You should want to win this race. If you're any of these drivers, the only way you're going to win one, take it 3 wide. Cause a yellow. Force somebody else into the mistake. Don't cause the mistake. Don't be the mistake. Make somebody else make it for you. If you shoot it 3 wide, somebody in here is going to get nervous. Like, you're going to make somebody itch and just want to go full on regalia. We need that at this moment. Somebody's going to do it. We'll come into 2 laps before my prediction for a caution flag, and we're throwing blocks. 2 drivers, Davis and Lariah, go up to block the outside lane of Liam Sheen of that 78, and we're starting to wiggle worm down the back straightaway.
Outside line for the first time tonight holds an advantage. The bottom was a staunch holder of a 4 or 5 car length advantage every time we saw a big pack earlier tonight, but not the case now. More cars topside than bottom, as this pack has erased 1.5 seconds out of the gap that they've trailed the leaders to. Maybe they should have started fighting like this earlier. Still only going to be good enough for whatever third on the back is. Here's the 3 wide now. Patterson goes to the inside.
Tried to tell you they're going to make it happen, and it didn't last for long. We left one in the middle. So now, coming to 10 to go, there it is. Caution, 10 to go, baby. Took it to the bank. I'm the man. I'm a genius. I saw it.
First time tonight, the caution will fly right at 10 laps to go. And as the age-old saying goes, this changes everything. Phillip and Eberhardt worked so hard all race to maintain that advantage that they had, and in the end,
it doesn't even matter.
Gone awry, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Curious if anybody wants fuel, if they're thinking overtime, if they're feeling the effects of tires. Austin Coop, one of the drivers involved in this one, it looked like it was he and Brett Larson who got together.
Can we get a little banner at the bottom that there's a lot of things that might have changed? We might have changed the personalities that's here. Should take a look at the replay. I told you somebody was going to go 3 wide and somebody was going to get nervous. Right here, these 2 drivers got nervous. They wasn't expecting the 3 wide move. They thought they were clear to get back in it. Davis goes around in that situation, and I mean, unfortunately, it brought the caution right at 10 to go. But take a look. I mean, the 51's up. Larson kind of comes down, the 15 kind of comes up, and then it's just a chain reaction. The 53 had nowhere to go. And then who was that kind of came in last minute? Just was not on the brakes as hard as possible. But look at here. You see it. Just one comes up, one comes down, and he thought he made it through it, but no. Not close. But can we get a graphic? Terry was right as everybody comes down pit lane.
And they're going to come in, take all the little bit of extra fuel, but some tires going to be distributed as well. Race off of pit road. Liam Sheen is once again the race leader. Halfway home in this race, he was sputtering out of fuel, barely made it back around, lost the lead pack, and now Liam Sheen, who has led 59 laps tonight, that's more than Agnew Phillips' 54, now is back in control of this race after all of that. Right behind him, Agnew Phillip. Sam Nieto going to get a win on a pit road by only spending 9 seconds in the box. That's the same that Liam Sheen did. So they will save time by going for the right side tires only. Let's see for Agnew Phillip. Is it worth giving up one spot, falling from the lead to P2? Is that worth it to get the 4 tires instead of the 2?
You know, what's funny is, you know, we can kind of talk to him, right? We have this ability to speak to Agnew sitting in second.
This is true. Let me see if we can dial him up first.
Yeah, let's see if we can rip him. I mean, he's in the A51 Pro Altus area. See if we can grab that driver and yank him up for a end of the race interview. Hey, there he is. Agnew, what's up, buddy?
That's right, we've got him. Agnew Phillip on the radio. Agnew, you were in the lead. You and Daniel Eberhardt working so close together. And of course, the yellow comes out. You decide to go for 4. Liam Sheen, Sam Nieto, a couple others go for 2. How you feeling?
I feel all right. I think we'll be in decent shape here. You know, tires are gonna mean a little bit, not a ton. It's really gonna be about positioning. First or second really shouldn't make that big of a difference. So we'll see how it goes.
You got your buddy back there, Daniel Eberhardt. Y'all work together all race long. Can you make it happen towards the end?
I sure hope so. I know he's gonna go for it on the last lap too. So he's only gonna be a buddy for so long.
Can you do me a favor when you go back to your channel?
Sure.
Can you tell Cody Harris that he lost to the national champions of 2023?
Sounds good. I'll do that.
Thanks, buddy.
Good luck, Agnew.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
It's the fun part is we can just drag drivers whatever now. This is going to be dangerous over the course of the rest of the season.
It's not a good idea if I'm getting to be stuck around. If I get to be a mainstay here for this season and not get pulled for woo or not get pulled for whatever, this might be a dangerous tool that we have.
Here we go. 6 laps to go. 2 tires, 4 tires sprinkled throughout the field. The control car will be Liam Sheen on the bottom. Agnew Phillip on the top side. These two have led the most laps tonight by a large margin. Can they fight it out amongst the two of them? Green flag in the air. It's a good jump for the inside. Liam Sheen's got the advantage. Can Nieto get clear for P2?
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest question here. That inside lane finally got a jump, but do you play nice? And Liam Sheen and Agnew Phillip almost did not play nice there, as you saw the driver right there of gas. He didn't want to let the drivers in. There's the block. Now we start to throw him. Sheen's going to move around, try to control every lane. There's the crossover, the undertake. There goes Agnew Phillip for the race lead.
Phillip to the inside for the lead. 3 wide.
Oh no!
Davis gets into Eberhardt, and they're going to pile him up as they scatter into turn number 1. Still wrecking.
The driver who started it did not hurt his car.
Is done. The 09 car, probably one of the best performances for a 3-lap led car I've seen in a long time. Agnew knew that Daniel was going to be somebody to go for it. In that checkup, we saw Agnew go underneath. Eberhardt kind of caught sleeping. Davis went to the inside of him, got a bit of a push from behind. It turned the 24 car. And the night ends just like that for Daniel Eberhardt, who 5 minutes ago thought he was at worst going to be talking about a P2.
Absolutely. And that's what these cautions bring. Cautions breed cautions. We'll go into an overtime here. But the driver who caused that is still on the racetrack. You see, it's awful. We'll take a look at the replay right there. There's the 24.
Oh, Eberhardt might have got him first.
Eberhardt might have tagged him. From the looks of it, it looked like maybe Davis kind of moved up, but no, Eberhardt came down. But still, it's heartbreaking. Like, you talked about that one with Eberhardt in the 09, led 3 laps. Oh, goodness. See, it wrecked so hard I sneezed. I died for 2 seconds on the air. They had the opportunity to make that run, and you're right. Did Agnell just come down pit lane?
Here's one more look at the almost a secondary accident. What happened behind all of this to get those additional cars involved? This may be interesting also in terms of nobody has claimed this yellow, which would send it to a post-race review. Those two wrecks actually happening pretty simultaneously with one another. The official cause of the caution from the sim may actually end up being the secondary incident that we just saw.
Yeah, so who takes the fault? Like, who takes it at the end of the day? But what a massive shakeup to this field. I know we're talking about the top two that potentially breaks up here, because we saw Phillip and Eberhardt was the mainstays in the top two of our running order. But think about this for a second. We really haven't talked about Minazzi Major. We haven't really talked Braden Whitaker. We haven't said a word about Jaron Weinmaster other than the fact that he had a different paint scheme. Thomas George is in the mix. Dylan Coyle was a lap down in this race on the initial start. And Dylan Coyle's 12th. Like,
remember when we said when he was fighting with the leaders, that's kind of important that he was the lead car of those who was a lap down, because that lucky dog's what got him back into this.
I mean, like I said, he's sitting 12th with a chance to win this race. I know that doesn't do a whole lot if you're anybody tuning in, but 12th has a chance. Bradley Burke has a chance. Every single driver that's still in the lead lap at this moment, all the way back to Steven Sawa in the 16th position, has an opportunity to win. And you take a look at the overtime rules here. If the leader takes the white flag, the next flag will be the checkered. There's no safety precautions in iRacing. And yeah, caution. That's Josh. Did you type that? Caution flag causes restart.
It's technically true.
It's true, but that's like the what is this, NASCAR for dummies?
Let's say if we get to the white, this race is official. And to your point, there are no virtual safety trucks that have to go out. So if we get the white flag, we're going to the checkers. There's no moment of yellow video review. Got to get back to the checkers. Now, we may need a video review with the stripe. That'd be a good finish, but that's the only place where it matters. If we get to the white flag, of course, we will have up to 3 attempts at this green-white checker overtime finish. So if we get a yellow before the white flag is captured, we'll rack them up, try it again, and get a maximum of 3 times. Liam Sheen and Agnew Phillip on the front row. As the pace car bows out, we're going into overtime in Atlanta. Green flag in the air, 2 laps to go.
Great start for the bottom. Again, Sheen got a massive run there from Sam Nieto. That's going to be huge. If Sheen wants to control both lanes, he's way too far out there, though. This is going to be big. Coming down the back straightaway, who gets the run on him, Evan, to take advantage of it as Nieto tried to side draft Agnew Phillip.
Going to be a sitting duck. Nieto's got a huge run, but there's nowhere to go, so he pile drives into the back bumper of the 78 car, and Liam Sheen takes it. But here comes Phillip topside, pushed by Brandon Gass, looking for the white flag. Oh, they're not going to get there, though. Wrecking, and the yellow comes out a moment.
That's a big-ass wreck.
For the white flag, and it's the big one.
That's big. That was everybody. Everybody but I believe 6 was caught up in that one. That was huge. That was just like, wow. We decided to do it big. You know, they always say you go big in the ATL. They went pretty big in the ATL.
And Agnew Phillip was, so close to crossing the start-finish line before the lights came on. Here's the wreck, turned off at the inside. Huge accident, track blocker. And again, some of the fastest cars of the night. Grant Davis involved in it, Freenosh involved in it, Sheen. Again, it just takes out the big names.
Yeah. You remember when I said the driver in 12th had a chance to win this race, and I kind of name dropped a few of them that had a good opportunity at this one? You know,
I do recall.
I mean, one of them sitting in 5th
Yeah, they're no longer 12th.
Yeah, one sitting in 7th, one's in 8th, 9th. Yeah, they're really contenders now. I mean, we have 2 more attempts if we can make it to them, but yeah, I mean they're kind of here, and this is going to be crazy. Look who's back in 3rd.
Liam Sheen.
Yeah, he's kind of like the mosquito that won't leave you alone when you're in the picnic at the park. He's the thorn in Agnell Phillips' side in all of this that's going to come about, because the moment Sheen gets to the back bumper of Phillip, he's the wild card. He's the one you're going to have to block. Now, granted, you're still going to have to block Dominic Howe, who's been up front most of this race, and also Sam Nieto. But that person behind you in the 78 is as aggressive as anybody else on this sim. And Liam Sheen does not want to finish second. I bet he's one of the most aggressive, competitive people I've ever met on the sim. He's not content to ride. He's taking the move, whether it's, bold or not, he's taking it.
And I think, having led 66 laps to Agnell Phillips 57, that it's almost guaranteed that Liam Sheen will get the most laps led tonight. I guess we could, in theory, if we push this all the way to the limit. Maybe Agnell Phillips gets another 9 in, but I just don't see that happening. To get at least the extra 2 bonus points. The other question is, iRacing can be funky sometimes with where cars are seated, and Liam Sheen got a good bit of damage in that wreck. Now, a race like this, with the draft, can kind of make up for some of that, but I'm curious, with it being a sprint, is that little bit of lag with the damage that he's going to have, just that lag getting up to speed and that aerodynamic loss that he takes, is that going to take Sheen out of this? Is that going to stack up the inside, or will it not matter? And he'll fight for the win no matter how the car looks. So this is attempt number 2 of 3 at a 2-lap shootout.
I don't think that the 78 is going to get hurt based off of the fact that he has Minotzi Major behind him. If you put any other driver behind him that didn't have the pace that Minotzi has, I would be a little worried. But the fact that the 82 is going to be gunning for this win just as hard as the 94 and as hard as the 78, even with you see a little bit of the damage on that Apex Racing machine, especially that bumper. Holy cow, that bumper. It looks like somebody got, whacked on the back of the head with a mallet or something. If he gets a breakaway and somebody has the opportunity to push him, Evan, they could shove him around because they're not going to be able to line noses.
Second attempt at RSR overtime. It is still the 94 of Agnell Phillips in control. Green flag in the air. It's a good start for the inside. Sheen seems to fire off well. He'll lead the 94 car off the turn 1. Looks high, stays in line, but those 2 are way out in front. You gotta wonder, are they too far out in front as the rest of the pack gets up to speed?
2 cars being able to break away there is not going to be the problem because the outside lane's going to come, but they have a better opportunity to block. You see it there going into turns 3 and 4. Agnell Phillips in the catbird seat based off of the fact that the 78 speed is not there, but here comes Minotzi Major. He gets a run. He looks to the outside. Battle for the lead. White flag's in the air.
3 wide behind, but they get the white flag. This race is official. Major leads the top side. It's Phillip on the bottom. Coyle onto the apron. Nearly wrecking, now crashing off at turn number 2. They hang on, but the battle for the race lead.
Come on, Minotzi.
Major top side. Phillip to the bottom. Where does Liam Sheen go? Middle gets blocked, but it loosens the 82 car up. No help for Phillip. Here comes the push. Minotzi Major leads off at turn 4. Sheen to the outside. Not in time, and Minotzi Major wins at Atlanta.
That has to be the coolest win in RSR history, is to see Minotzi Major not in the Sprite colors, but in the Spotify Hulu green machine getting the win. I mean, that's awesome. I get it, he's a Floridian, but Minotzi Major getting a win here, that has to be just as special as Daniel Suarez winning yesterday.
Career start in the Cup Series number 77 and career race win number 1. Minotzi Major is a race winner in the Full Throttle RealSimRacing Cup Series. Let's watch it again. Thought that he was a sitting duck right here. Phillip had the push, but the 9 right there. A little bit of hit to the left rear checks him up. and then it's going to be the assist from Sheen. Sheen's not just a good guy, Terry. He's trying to push him clear to make his own move. He did that, but right there, Phillip started to come back with a run, loosened him up, and as they're coming to the white flag here, or to the checkered, should say, thought it was done, but Agnell lost his help. Minazzi stayed low, and Liam Sheen needed about that extra little bit of Talladega space between them and the checkers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sheen wanted to give the push, but you saw, I'm not sure if it was the damage or the fact that he couldn't necessarily get a flush push to the back bumper of the Camaro of Minazzi Major, but still, at the end of the day, career start 70 plus, walking out of here with the win. That's pretty cool to lock himself into the playoffs and not be that driver first car out or second car out. He's punching it all the way out there.
And he was hyped up. We'll talk with him in a moment. First, let's take a look at your RSR full race results. The final margin of victory, 2/100ths of a second. Minazzi Major over Liam Sheen. At Agnell, Phillip has a great night. Leads 59 laps. Sheen led 66 in his own right. In the end, though, they both lose to a guy who leads 1. And we'll try to get thoughts from all of them in just a few. Sam Nieto comes home inside of 4th, and Jaron Windmaster comes home to a quiet P5. Andrew Freenosh involved in that second-last wreck. He's P6. Dominic Howe is 7th. Braden Whitaker 8th. Thomas George 9th. And Dylan Coyle snatches the top 10.
Pretty cool for Cole there in 10th. They got involved in that. But you see Steve Sauer back there in 11th, Eric Papanow, Michael Araya, DeAndre Kane in 14th, Tom Morano, Mike Maddox, who was your fastest lap. He'll get some bonus points there from lap 3. And the 16th position, Bradley Burke, Garrett Pittman, Maverick Davis, and Grant Davis. Laps down, minute and 20th.
And continuing through, most of these cars not making it to the scheduled distance in this race, but guys like Cato, guys like Tice, Eberhardt, big name, Coop even, were drivers who we were talking about up and in the mix early in this race that do not get the results that they thought they were going to walk away with here in round number 2. Well, that's a look top to bottom at your RSR full race results. Why don't we talk with the newest race winner in RSR history, because Minazzi Major is a race winner in the Full Throttle RealSimRacing Cup Series. Minazzi, congratulations.
Man, thank you so much. I've been trying to win one of these for so long. It's honestly one of the hardest leagues to win in, so it's really cool to be talking to you right now.
I know Liam gave you a congratulatory bump there, and it ruined how cool the car looks in the pictures, but it was the bump at the end from Liam that mattered. Coming to the checkered flag in turn 4, you got Agnell on your inside. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, so the top line kind of died on the restart, which shocked me. So I was like, I have to take advantage of this. I saw Suarez in the cup race in real life. He was able to take advantage of the outside. I was trying not to turn Agnell coming to the white. He kind of threw a half block. I tried to go as high as I could without getting into the wall. Worked out for me. And then Liam came up behind me, gave me a tap in 3 and 4, which kind of gave me the momentum to get the win. But overall, it was a really good race. I got to thank my team, Rogue Wave Racing, Austin Coop. He signed me like a couple hours right before Daytona. It's been great working with them. Cam Patterson, Tom Morano, all those guys for working with me during the race today. It was fantastic out there.
This was an interesting one, right? Caution free through the opening 120, a race that started with 3 wide right out of the gate and then kind of got splintered amongst drivers trying to save fuel to get to that midway stage bonus, and then different packs trying to draft. You lead 1 lap in this race, and it's the checkered flag lap. What was the journey to get yourself just to be in position given all that happened?
Yeah, I mean, so I know obviously you guys saw Agnell and I think Eberhardt were just completely gone from the field for most of the race. I'm not sure. I don't remember what happened to cause that. But it was basically like the 2 of them 8-9 seconds ahead, and then everybody else kind of in one big group. We were catching them a little bit, and then we just kind of got disorganized, and they were too far away for any of us to do anything. So it just kind of turned into 2 separate races. We were kind of crossing our fingers that they weren't going to be able to either make it on fuel or maybe they'd take themselves out going for the win or something like that. But we were kind of stuck with 3rd as our best possible finish, and then we got lucky with a caution with about 10 to go or so. Unfortunately, it took out one of my teammates, which we weren't looking for, but kind of reset the race. Everyone came down, took tires, and the rest is history. But I was really excited, or really I guess kind of like surprised by how much tires played an impact. I know you always hear about Atlanta being more of a handling track than Daytona and Talladega is, but it was definitely the case today. You'd run like 15, 20 laps and then the tires would just be gone. So definitely a lot of tire strategy came into play today, but just happy to be in victory lane.
You mentioned you've been trying to get this race winner for a while. Been competing here since 2021, and it is lucky start number 77 for you in the Cup Series to get your first win. Congratulations on that. We'll let you get out of here and celebrate. Anybody else you want to say hi to?
Again, Rogue Wave Racing, my teammates. Thanks to you, Evan, for the league and the broadcast that you guys put on. It's a pleasure watching every single week. So again, this is like a dream come true to be here talking to you right now. Hopefully we can take this momentum into next week and the rest of the season.
Well, they always say the first one's the hardest. So we'll be looking for you up front, not on a week in, a week out basis. And oh, by the way, the race win means you'll be in the playoffs this year, which is fun as well. So we look forward to what the rest of 2024 has got in store for you, Manazzi. But we appreciate you being a part of this series for so many years, and a well-deserved win. Congratulations.
Thank you. It means a lot.
It's your race winner tonight from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Manazzi Major gets the win. Now let's go to the second half of that battle for the win, Terry. Liam Sheen, 2/100ths of a second shy after leading a race-high 66 laps. You're with him.
Maybe. Liam Sheen, what are you doing, man? You finished second. Got a good, gave a good shot there to Manazzi Major. What was your plan coming to that finish line?
I didn't want to give Manazzi the shot there because that kind of pushed him too far ahead. So I really wanted to just swing outside, but there was no one behind me. Maybe recreate the Cup finish there. But I mean, I did get to his outside, but there was just not enough track yet. If it was Talladega, maybe I would have had a shot. But yeah, so congrats to Manazzi there. I know I kind of junked him. I was trying to give him a little congrats bump, and I spun him around there. So yeah, good on him. Good to see first-time winners. Sucks to be close twice in a row, but that's that.
Well, we leave the realm of super speedways next week going to Las Vegas. We go to more your style of racing, more technical, kind of saving the car, saving the tires, not so aggressive on edge every single lap. What are you going to take from the first 2 weeks, if anything, going into Vegas and going into the real part of the season?
The points haul, because I haven't driven this car at all. Like, the two races, I ran is the only two tracks plus Talladega I've really run this car in, because it's such a ball to have that slingshot draft. So I'm probably going to suck for a good bit here. So it's really important to have a ton of points in the bag just to, walk away with it. So to have that insurance, that's going to be good, and that's crucial because I don't know how to drive this car yet. These guys have 2 or so years of experience driving it. I'm pretty much starting as if I just got the game. So it's
Simulator.
Sim, yeah. But it's gonna be a rough little bit here. Maybe at the road courses, it might be a little faster. But again, I haven't driven this car. I'm really used to having that yaw with the Xfinity car and truck. So with the Cup car, it doesn't really like that too much. So it's going to be a big learning curve there. So for a while, I'm going to stink. Maybe we'll pick it up towards the middle of the year. But really, big takeaway tonight is a good points day.
Boy, I bet now you even more wish that you would have won last week or 2 weeks ago or maybe this week. But, man, congratulations on getting P2. Sucks that you're not in RSR victory lane already this season, but we'll look forward to you in Las Vegas, potentially not in the mid-pack, but, in the back of the pack.
Yeah.
Thanks, Liam. That's Liam Sheen coming on P2 in the 78. And you know what? I'll talk to the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of RSR competition, Agnell Phillip. Agnell, you come home P3 after an absolute butt whipping on the field, and you lost it to a guy that led all of 20 feet.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to Manazzi. That was cool to see him pull that one out. But yeah, I mean, I just got too far out in front there, and just didn't do. I could have done maybe more of an aggressive block to the top or gone to the top sooner. It's really hard to tell when you're out in front, like what the best move is in the moment. And he had a pretty big run. It was going to be pretty hard to block it. So, but yeah, really congrats to him. And yeah, I mean that was a really weird race for most of it.
Yeah, it was very weird. At the end of the day, it was completely strung out. Nobody really did anything. What's crazy is I actually called that there would be a caution with 10 to go, so I probably cost you the race.
Nah, I mean I was kind of. It's funny. I think I was a little bit of a sitting duck for Daniel, even if that had played out. And honestly, I wasn't like heartbroken to see the caution come out there, because it was going to be more fun to kind of just race it out with everyone rather than kind of that would have just been a really weird finish. So I'll take that, and it's fine. It was fun once we got the brawl in there at the end.
Well, your average finish out of Daytona and Atlanta is second. So we go to Vegas, a place that you're all too familiar with. You're very good on the mile and a halves. Are you the car to beat next week?
I think we'll be up there. We got some good people in this league that'll certainly be ready to go. I think the spring Vegas race tends to be a little bit messier than the fall one is, and that means that any number of things can happen. So we'll go try to get the best run we can. It feels like there might be some changes to kind of how the tire and how the sim works from kind of last RSR season, and we'll use it as an opportunity to kind of get up to speed on that and see where we end up. I'm gonna, it's the good thing about winning 2 weeks ago is I don't have to worry about it too much. So I'm just trying to go out there and learn and see where we get.
It's a great way to look at it. Well, congratulations on P3, Agnell. And I didn't get to tell you congratulations on your win 2 weeks ago at Daytona. Great champion. Can't wait to see you defend it for the second consecutive year in a row. Agnell, Phillip, your P3 finisher, and you did not fulfill Evan's partner's thing of you winning this race.
Yeah, appreciate it, Terry.
Maya predicted you winning this one, Agnell, but
you let her down.
P3's good. P3's good.
I'm sorry. I'll try to make it up to her next week.
Okay.
You let her down. It's your fault.
Yeah, we'll wrap up the broadcast so I can report the bad news.
All right, that's good.
Still been a great start to the year for Agnell Phillip. We appreciate his time, and big thanks as well, Liam Sheen as well. But how about Benazzi Major, Terry? He is the 99th different winner in RSR Cup Series history, and he is going to enjoy it today. Maybe when we get number 100 and we give them a big $100,000 check for being the 100th different RSR winner, he'll feel a little bit bad that it didn't come any later. But for a guy who has been a part of this series every year full-time since 2021, couldn't have happened to a better guy. I know you were keeping an eye on him that whole final lap, and when all the other competitors jump on the radio and congratulate him and say how cool it is to see a guy get a race win, it means something special.
Yeah, and I talk about this all the time, and I've been fortunate to be a part of this series for going on 2 years now, and to see some of these drivers come into this league, and it doesn't feel like a league. It feels like a family. Like, no matter if you're you get your Discord arguments at the end of the race, you get your in-race arguments, but at the end of the day, they support and love one another. And to see a driver like Benazzi Major get the win, and to just cement himself as, hey, I've been here for 70 plus races. I've been here for almost 3 seasons. It's about damn time I won one. And it's a win for the good guys. It's going into next week at Vegas going, hey, Benazzi Major is the defending race winner, which you could watch that March 4th, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time from the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway, or Evan's secondary backyard. Is that what we can call
home
this?
Track? That is weird to say, because RSR has been competing since 2012. And in 2012 is when I moved to Las Vegas. So for the first time in RSR history, not my home track. That's Daytona now. That's still a weird one to say, but I will always have a special spot for LVMS and the virtual version of America's Racing Showplace. Should be a fun one. Again, everything different with these next-gen cars, but we're starting to build the notebooks. We're starting to figure out what we're looking to see in these intermediate racetracks, I hope, as we start to pick more of those up now on the calendar as we get past this super speedway heavy opener. I hope that these intermediate tracks are just as good as they were last year.
I think it's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait to either be calling it or watching it on RaceSpot. Vegas always puts on a great show, and you even heard Agnell Phillip talk about it. The first one's always kind of like maybe we'll try this, because they're building the notebook, they're building their season ahead, and you might see single car spins, you might potentially see a bigger wreck because they're trying to find what the new car is doing. Third season in a row, we've had a major update before the first mile and a half of the season. So we'll see what Las Vegas brings. Does it change the tire balance of the car? Does it change the way the right front drives? Maybe the left rear? The right rear, how that one's going to drive into the corner? You could only tune in and find out. That's right here on RaceSpotTV.
And it's going to be, in theory, the only other time this year, including this week at Atlanta, where we go racing the week after NIS and the Racing Week. So they should get a lot of those answers over the course of the next 7 days. I'll be curious to see how that plays a factor on that race as well. But until next time, that is it for us here tonight from Atlanta. On behalf of our entire team at RealSimRacing, RaceSpotTV, and your broadcast team tonight, for our producer Joshua Lee, for Terry Radford, and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to say thanks for tuning in, and congratulations go to Minazzi Major, first time RSR winner. We're back in 1 week time. That's Monday, March the 4th at iRacing's virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That race and every race of this 2024 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series can be found exclusively right here on RaceSpot TV. Till next time, good night from Hotlanta.